Belichick turning things around. Now he's won a couple. Everybody's shutting up. I've said this before of Bill Belichick's demise in North Carolina. But now all of a sudden, he's kicking ass. And while he's kicking ass, she's throwing shade at people. You think seriously Bubba Cunningham and the Chancellor gives a rat's ass about Jordon Hudson? They care about this. Again, like most people would say, most normal people, thank you for your service. Thank you for all that you did. It still pisses me off that as Trump was swearing people in during Sunday's Commanders game that knuckleheads were booing. That was pure jackassery. Belichick turning things around. A little girl that he's with is throwing shade. Fran Fraschilla joins us. Danny Z being accosted in Michigan. Ocha Capesta, what a show we got. Don't At Me starts right now. I think reports, and I've said this before, of Bill Belichick's demise in North Carolina are greatly exaggerated. He's starting to turn things around. He's won his last two, both against ACC opponents. Remember, he started 2-5. Now, the wins that he got are against a depleted, Syracuse team that was rolling, then it lost its quarterback. And then, of course, he beat Andrew Luck and the Mensa man, Frank Reich, and Stanford. So now he's 4-5. And now people are starting to shut up. In fact, people are starting to mention him to go be the Giants coach as Brian Daboll got fired. A week or two ago, it was seen like Belichick couldn't win a damn game and he couldn't get a job and he was going to be out of everything and everybody was mad at him. And now all of a sudden, he's kicking ass. And while he's kicking ass, his girlfriend, guess what? She's throwing shade at people. That's what she's doing. She's throwing shade. Winning is great. Winning is the best thing ever. When you win, all of a sudden, all the stupid stops. When you win, offers come at you. When you win, you can, and so can your gal pal, throw shade at people. It's fantastic. Winning is the best. It's the only thing any coach, myself included, misses about coaching. You don't miss dealing with players. Coaches that say that are lying. You don't miss the fans. Maybe if you are the Indiana basketball coach or the Ohio State football coach, you miss the private planes. I get that. But damn, winning is what you really miss. Let's look at it. Belichick's girlfriend in the year leading up to Belichick's first season at North Carolina this year, there were a lot of things reported, a lot of things said about his 24-year-old girlfriend, Jordon Hudson. One item that stood out was Pablo Torre's May report that Hudson had been banned from the Tar Heels football facility, citing multiple sources, this according to Awful Announcing. Torre said the university administration members decided in the wake of Belichick's viral interview with CBS Sunday Morning they were going to ban her. Hudson, of course, has been ever present all over the place at North Carolina football contests this year, interacting with Belichick on the sideline before games. That included Saturday's North Carolina-Stanford showdown, where she was seen wearing a necklace that read banned, presumably throwing shade and referencing the report by Pablo Torre. You know, we all are all about shade. We are all about when you win. Let's go. Let's go. You know that we are. Jordon Hudson, this is a screenshot from the New York Post. Jordon Hudson responds to banned rumors with a statement necklace at Bill Belichick's North Carolina game. All right, here's a flashback to what Torre said, so you know what the hell we're talking about. Two sources, Pablo Torre says, at the University of North Carolina tell me that there has been a decision that was made last week by the higher-ups inside the athletic department that had hired Belichick to be the highest paid, they always throw this in, Torre and these guys, public employee, which is his way of saying, we hired you, but we still have control over you. It's all crap. Anyway, not just to coach in the state of Indiana at $10 million a year, and that decision was that Jordon Hudson, she is no longer allowed in the football building. She is not allowed on the football field. Now, of course, North Carolina denied that report, and Hudson has been in attendance at every North Carolina game so far this year. That would be weird to me If they banned a girlfriend or a wife from the facility, that's like saying, hey, look, you're a stalker. Wives have always been involved. See, going back to when you win, going back to Nick Saban and Miss Terry, the exhausting tales of Miss Terry and the bullshit that Saban throws about the breakfast he would have with the mommy and the daddy. Miss Terry is seen as a great recruiter. Nonsense. Read The Price by Armin Kantayan. The great recruiters were the fat-ass guys that made deals for college coaches like Saban. Yes, Miss Terry's a nice touch, but no cash, shit. I'm going to Tennessee. Shit, I'm going to Mississippi. I've said this before. I'm wearing my Indiana. There it is. I got Indiana over my shoulder. There it is. I'm all Indiana. Bob Knight's first wife would sit there and cuss at players, myself included. Dakich, you ruined this team, you mother blanker. That was in Madison Square Garden during the NIT final as I was trying to guard Reggie Miller. Coach Knight's second wife, I forget, Karen Edgar, a high school coach of gals, I think 3-on-3 in the great state of Oklahoma. Somehow, some way, these two hooked up, presumably before he was divorced. She was a presence everywhere. She became our, wait for it, strength and conditioning coach. How about that? Bob Knight, wife, strength and conditioning coach. Players looked over going, what? Mickey Krzyzewski, could not be more involved in the Duke program. Stop it, stupid. Remember Nell over there and going back hundreds of years to John Wooden? It's the John and Nell Wooden Court. Just stop it. Don't act like all of a sudden Jordon Hudson is unique. Women, well, it's undefeated. You know it. I know it. We all know it. And when you're Belichick and you're 70 whatever and you're running around with a 24-year-old, guess what? It's even more undefeated. It is. So don't tell me that the higher-ups told Belichick he can't have this little girl around the facility. I called BS at the time. I call BS now. As she's seen on the sidelines before the game, maybe the administration wanted to put a ban, but Belichick, I'm assuming, has nothing in his contract that if Jordon Hudson, I think that's her name, would break through the ban, he would be fired for cause. I don't think that's in the contract. Hey, man, it's in your contract. No chicks allowed. I don't think that's it. So you could come down, Bubba Cunningham, and say, you know, Bill, we're really concerned about, after the interview, the influence of Jordon Hudson. We've seen ridiculous pictures on the beach with you lifting up Jordon Hudson, and we are banning her from the facility. And Belichick would go, well, next game, okay. And then walk out of the facility, pull Jordon Hudson out of the car, scan her in, and not even worry about it. I mean, seriously. That's it right there. That is what would happen. Come on. You think seriously Bubba Cunningham and the chancellor or whoever would make those decisions gives a rat's ass about Jordon Hudson? They care about this. They care about Belichick needing to win 2 games down the stretch to make a bowl where everybody would then get off of his ass. He would take this team to a bowl game. They would have won their last 4. People would be jumping up and down, standing on their head, crapping snowballs, talking about how Belichick found his footing. After a rough early start, Bill Belichick found his footing. Yeah, well, he also brought in 70 new players, and, you got to figure it out from a program that was stagnant. Actually, he needs to win 2 of his last 3. If he wins his last 3, holy hell, he's got to play at Wake, Duke at home, at NC State. I would have thought the Duke game would be the last game. What are you going to do? I don't think any of those 3, although Wake Forest did beat Virginia and knock them out of the college football playoff conversation, at least for now. So, win 2 out of 3, go to a bowl, win 3 in a row, and you're going to be headlines. That's the way it is. I mean, Dion, Belichick rising, and we'll see what happens. Even today, as I said earlier, I was watching Gio and Boomer, or Boomer and Gio, whatever the hell it is, and they were talking about next head coach might be, guess who? Belichick. 3 weeks ago, they ain't having that conversation. Good for Belichick. Good for Jordon Hudson. Bad for the haters. I'm firmly in Belichick's corner with this because I got tired of people. It was premature ejection. They were premature ejecting Bill Belichick from the ranks of a college coach and the ranks of a great coach. Now he's won a couple. Everybody's shutting up. Keep going, coach. Keep going, coach. Yeah, you go, man. Anyway, you enjoying the show while you're here, make sure you head on over. You got to. You got to head on over to youtube.com/at don't at me with Dan Dakich to like, comment, and subscribe. And you can hate, call me a bald-headed douchebag, whatever you want. You'll never miss any of our great content, and feel free to argue with each other in the chat. We get a kick out of it. We do. We like arguing in the chat. See, we ain't afraid of argument. We don't mind confrontation. We just do our thing. We just do our thing. You go there, and you have a great time. All our content is there. Usually show drops around 1, 2 o'clock Eastern time, something like that. It's a good time. It's a good time. If you're watching this, you already know. All right. It was only a matter of time before this happened. Oh, it was only a matter of time. In the era of NIL payments, athlete entitlement is at an all-time high. I mean, my guys from Indiana last year headed to bars night before game, Omar Ballo, playing blackjack late into the night on the road in the Bahamas, Trey Galloway. I mean, the entitlement is silly. And people actually defend these clowns, which is fascinating to me. Anyway, let's head on down to Lexington, Kentucky. 7th year senior quarterback, turned 25 on Sunday, Zach Calzada, was recently benched because he sucks by Mark Stoops and the Wildcat down there in Kentucky, the Big Blue Nation. All right. Well, the quarterback, took to social media, Calzada did, to taunt displeased fans about his play. You're displeased? Great. Let me show you something. I'm going to flash all of his NIL money that was paid to him, stating, your ass needs to stop hating and go get you some money. Your ass needs to stop hating and go get you some money. 25-year-old quarterback benched at Kentucky. Now he feels sorry. Here's the video of this clown flashing that green, yo. Hashtag at go get some money, Zach. Now, I would argue in the history of collegiate douchebags, this is somewhere in the top 10. Why? Because it looks like a douchebag. It sounds like a douchebag. It's flashing money like a douchebag. Thus, it's a douchebag. So, go get him, Zach. Now, that money probably will be gone in 20 minutes. And Zach, well, this isn't going to be gone. He deleted the tweet. He said he was sorry. But look at that face. Can you put that face back up there, if you don't mind? The face you see right there is a Jeff Passan type face, one that just needs punched. One good punch would straighten that guy out. I'm not advocating for it. I'm just telling you historically that's what needs to happen. Back in the day, a guy that was a complete douchebag would get punched. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying it's fact. That, Zachy boy, is a punchable face. Here it is. Listen to this. Mark Stoops, this is according to this idiot Jack Pilgrim at KSR. Now, KSR is the most ridiculous fanboy Kentucky-based thing ever. The most insecure folks. I don't even pay attention to them, but they certainly do to me. Mark Stoops thought spending $1.25 million on Zach Calzada was the right call ahead of a do-and-die season in Lexington. $167,000 per quarter of football play. $50,000 per completion. Shocked, stunned, blindsided. Are you real? I mean, I know this guy, Jack Pilgrim, never played nothing, never nothing. I get it. You know, he's just jealous of guys. But are you really stunned? I mean, all you really got to do is look at a guy's in his 7th year and a guy like me who follows college football, loves college football. I never heard of the kid. Now, maybe you have, but I have not. And you're going to give him $1.25 million. I heard of Fernando Mendoza. I heard of Curtis Rourke. I never heard of this kid. Anyway, Calzada, I take full responsibility for the video I sent to someone on social media. Okay. I let my emotions get the best. Oh, here we go. Here we go. I love this one. It does not reflect the gratitude I should share as a member of the Kentucky football team. I sincerely apologize to my teammates, coaches, our fans. I'll learn from this. Do better. Move forward with more respect for the opportunity I've been given. All right, bud. 25 years old. I get it. Emotions run the best of you. You got to lash out. Go get him, champ. I don't pay attention to Mina Kimes. You think I would. I paid attention to her one time and only when she fires back at me. I paid attention to her on comments about the Colts, which were so stupid a year ago, I had to make fun of her. I've never watched her analysis on TV. When she pops up, I just move it along. I make fun of her racism. I make fun of her stupidity in terms of trying to be involved in politics with that Karen Bass lady, America's worst mayor, not named Brandon Johnson. But this is pretty funny to me, and every time I see something like this at ESPN, I just laugh. You got to understand, these are money-grubbing, untalented pigs that have absolutely no code, absolutely no character. Mina Kimes is embarrassed. No, it's not for ridiculous takes or being a DEI hire that has no background and being paid millions. No, that's not it. It's endorsing a sketchy, believe it, solitaire app that recently defrauded customers. The truth is, I didn't spend any time looking into the whole thing, and that's 100% on me. I love this little girl. She's a little Asian girl who's never swore in her life, but she's trying so hard. She's learned phrases from sports. That's on me. She drops the F-bomb, says man all the time. It's a classic woman broadcaster thing. They're trying to be so cool when they couldn't be less, but I'll give her credit. Thought it was just typical marketing work, and I'm deeply embarrassed I didn't bet it. A colossal fuck-up on my part. That's what these little girls try so hard. They do. They try so hard to be cool. They've heard guys and girls say fuck. So now we got to say it. We want to be like the athletes. That's 100% on me. Well, it's no different than what you do in football. It's no different than what you do, I assume, in everything. You scratch the surface. The basis. You lie. You don't really dive deep into what you know. You did the same thing with Karen Bass. You saw some woman running in a city that's a big-time city, and you said, I'm going to endorse her. It's the same thing, Mina, you do with everything. If somebody isn't handing you what to say, you have no idea how to go about the business of actually finding out. You don't. You can say you're a journalist. You're not. Every, quote, journalist that I know that I respect would vet everything. But you didn't. See, but you're bulletproof. This is the beauty of it, Mina. You're bulletproof. You're an Asian woman. Makes you bulletproof. You're an Asian liberal woman. That's on the right side of the DEI/media. You are bulletproof. You could take a dump on the set and everybody would go, well, she couldn't help it. That's how bulletproof you are. And good for you for understanding that. 3 days after, well, frankly, several top ESPN personalities publicly endorsed a shady real money gaming app currently embroiled in a fraud lawsuit. This one has publicly apologized. Saturday evening, ESPN analyst Mina Kimes took to social media to express regret for advertising an app called Solitaire Cash, which is owned by a company, Papaya Gaming, that was found to have defrauded customers in what are called real money games of skill. A court recently ruled that Papaya Gaming placed bots into games that were purportedly played by human users. These bots could determine whether human users won or not. Kimes does not seem to be the only personality opting to distance themselves from Papaya's gaming sketchy practice business. Her NFL Live colleague, Laura Rutledge, another little girl that is bulletproof. She, as a white little gal, Laura Rutledge, is on the right side of the media. And, of course, Dan Orlovsky, who's the most chicken shit of all ESPN employees, the biggest ass kisser, according to other ESPN personnel at ESPN. Remember when Orlovsky said, protect our girls, and then took it down immediately? He was doing that in response to that male boxer fighting in the women's category and knocking the crap out of him. But Orlovsky is a gutless buffoon who is on there because he kisses the ass of the right people. Now, those two deleted, but as of now, Stephen A. Smith and Kendrick Perkins still have advertisements endorsing Solitaire Cash on their social media feeds. Well, both Perkins and, of course, Stephen A. Smith are bulletproof. African Americans, loud, brash, will throw the race card at any time. Smith, as Michelle Beadle adroitly pointed out, bigger than. Perkins, well, he thinks he is bigger than, but he's been totally neutered. Perkins has. He was so bad at his job on NBA Countdown that they had to bring in Charles, Kenny, Shaq, and Ernie. So Perk, big stupid, might need to make that money. So he's telling ESPN, F you, I've got no integrity. You know I have no integrity. So why would I bother taking that down? That's the deal. The solitary mess has the aforementioned Michelle Beadle going off about Stephen A. Smith. She said she will never share and never would share a set with that man, for she doesn't respect him. Welcome to the club. Here's Beadle.
This is what you would do.
Here's the thing. Here's what bothers me about it, right? And look, there's no secret how I feel about that human. But the guy is making money off of here. ESPN pays him a gazillion dollars
to not work there full time,
to get a lot of stuff wrong and yell, right? And he gets caught playing solitaire during the NBA freaking finals.
The thing that he claims to be a fucking
the thing that he's
genius in.
And so instead of he doubles down and he does this. If I'm ESPN, and I get it. You created this monster. He is bigger than you now. And that's exactly your fault and your fault only. You let him run rampant all over that company and put his face on for everybody who's like, oh, he works so hard. I'm going to let you in on a little behind the scenes. He wants to do that. Nobody's asking him.
He's desperate to do it.
He shows up. I told everyone I work with, I will never share a set with that person, ever, because I don't respect him, and life's too short. The morning of my last day on Get Up, as Greeny was giving me a heartfelt goodbye, and I awkwardly sat there, as I was leaving the set, they started a promo that Stephen A. Smith will be on the show tomorrow. It is him. So let's stop acting like the guy gets worked to death. It's him.
Yeah.
So that being said, I'm like, he made you look like fools for handing him a blank check in the first place because he doesn't even give a shit about the stuff that he's paid a gazillion dollars to talk about. And now he's turning around and turning that into a money-making opportunity. Yeah. And the money-making opportunity, turns out it looks like it's a fraudulent crap business to begin with. Honestly, I'm not a religious person, but I pray for the downfall. I really do.
It's going to be amazing.
It's
going to be amazing.
It's gross, man.
It is.
You got to have principles in this thing. Look.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm not so sure everybody's the most principled. You know him, you love him. I wish he would go and work at OutKick or in the political space, but he can't right now because he's too good at what he does. That's the great Fran Fraschilla. Yeah, go to FranFraschilla. Coach, I got to ask you, big night actually tonight in college hoops. Why are Kentucky and Louisville playing on an early November Tuesday night? Why is that?
I heard about this in the summer. I can't exactly remember, but I actually think it's really good, Danny, because the schools are getting away from those like Maui type, Atlantis type deals because they really don't want to play 3 tough games. And so what I love about it is instead of those kind of tournaments that these guys are playing in, they're playing more power conference games early in the year. Like we've already had Arizona and Florida. We just had North Carolina, Kansas. I think it's great. I think it's great for college basketball. You and I and other smart people in the game, if we sat down, we could think of a lot of ideas to promote college basketball at this time of year, when unfortunately for guys like you and I who love the game so much, it's being swallowed up by college football, rightfully so. I love college football on a Saturday or Sunday, or Friday night, I should say. But I think this is good. It'll be fun tonight to see these two teams go toe to toe. And it's funny. I just read a tweet about I think it was our good friend Jeff Goodman, who said these are the two highest NIL budgets in college basketball. And when you were playing and I was coaching, they didn't have NIL back then. It was just two of the highest budgets. So now it's legal. NIL, now it's legal.
I loved Kentucky when I watched them play against Louisville. I did. I thought Kentucky. All right. And here's what I like, Coach. I love nothing against Maui. Love covering it. The NIT preseason, great, all that. But I love home games. I think home games are important in college basketball. Kentucky, Louisville, Gonzaga's playing tonight at home. Creighton. I think these games at home, in home environments, not sterile, are great for the game.
Amazing. The only caveat I would say to that, is when Illinois plays Missouri in St. Louis and it's 20,000 and it's 10,000, 10,000.
Yes.
But to your point, absolutely, man. I think I've got UConn at Kansas in a couple weeks, and the other thing you and I and other basketball fans have found out, because the basketball committee, I think, has done a good job of this, is you're no longer getting penalized for losing to a really good team. You can be a team like Kansas or UConn or Kentucky or Louisville or Duke, and go into the postseason with 7 losses. And if there's 7 good losses, it's absolutely not going to hurt you. And more than likely, it's going to help you because of the competition you face. So it's great. I think it's good for us. And I'm anxious to see Kentucky Louisville tonight. I'll be in front of the TV.
I thought Kentucky looked great against Purdue. I haven't seen Louisville, but I know, they're doing a great job there. What surprised you? What has been interesting to you first week of the season?
Oh, the freshmen. We're coming out of the COVID era, right? Where last year we had a lot of 5th and 6th, and we still have a few. But last year, if you think about especially the SEC, the All-Americans, right? Janai Broome, Mark Sears from Alabama, Walter Clayton from Florida. Most of these guys were 5th year, some cases 6th year guys, because of COVID, because of the extra eligibility. And there's still a few left, but what I love in his first week, and you know me, I love the international guys. I'm not on the draft anymore, but I absolutely love that right now in college basketball, all these great American freshmen, Boozer, Peterson, DeBanza. Now we got Caleb Wilson from North Carolina, Mikel Brown, on and on and on. Koa Pete. By the way, Koa Pete, great story. His dad, Todd Pete, played in the NFL. And his brother, Andrus Pete, is an offensive lineman in the NFL. It's a football family. And all this kid did in Arizona is win 4 straight state titles. And he's the most decorated USA basketball player ever at the junior level. 4 gold medals for USA. And he's not even in top 3. We talk about the big 3, Dan. Peterson, DeBanza, Boozer. And all of a sudden, there's about 8 or 9 of those guys that are all vying for those top 3 spots. It's great for college basketball.
Yeah, the kid drops 30 in his opener. This sounds weird to me. First Big 12 kid to get 30 and 5 in his debut, ever. Damn. Hey, the international game. I'm going to go to Illinois. Do you know any? He texts me. He goes, "Hey, any Serbian swear words?" I said, "Yeah, I know a bunch." I sent him some. How good are some of these guys at Illinois? And, Purdue's got one. Indiana had a Serb. He didn't play. Israeli kid at Purdue. How good are some of these international kids?
Well, it's funny. I don't follow it as closely as I did, day to day when I was doing the draft for ESPN. But here's what I'll tell you. The agent for the kids that are all going to Illinois is one of the top agents in Europe. up until 5 years ago, you couldn't get a kid out of Serbia and come to college basketball if you had a gun in an army. There's no way they were letting those kids go. Now, because of NIL, the floodgates are open. These kids are making, I'm telling you, Dan, the average Serbian kid who's a good player and maybe not an NBA draft pick, like many of these kids are, they're going to be good college players. Their first pro contract could be 25 grand, maybe 50 if they're lucky. And then they work their way up and they get to the Euro League or whatever. These kids are making 500,000, 600, 7 and up. So if the agent takes 10%, these guys are good businessmen. You got this influx of kids coming over to college now, everywhere, not just Illinois, although they're the Balkan connection. Because if you get 800 grand, the agent gets 80. You times that by 25 kids, and an agent can make millions on these kids coming to college. So this would have never happened without NIL. And is it good for the game? I don't know. I know one thing. We've said this for many, many years. I know you have. I have. You American guys, you better get back to the fundamentals. That AAU nonsense is nice, but you have jobs being taken not only in the NBA but now in college. Hey, Brad Underwood, he'd rather have a kid from Belgrade than he would south side of Chicago. Come on.
Hell yeah.
Unbelievable.
Hey, Coach, absolutely. I don't think that anybody would turn down a kid like you're talking about that has been doing this and is skilled and is appreciative for the most part.
Yeah.
Now, they're crazy. Serbs are nuts. I mean, that's okay.
Hey, competitive.
How corrupt is this agent? How corrupt? Huh?
No, competitive. I mean, you know the background because that's your background. You get kids out of that country. They love basketball. You know what it's like? I'm going to tell you this. You get a kid out of Belgrade. Belgrade is not a rich city, okay? There's a lot of, places in Belgrade you would not want to go at night. That's like getting a kid out of Gary or south side of Chicago or Detroit or, Brooklyn. And, the only difference is the skin color. But the toughness and the love of basketball in that country is very similar to, when we were recruiting a kid out of Detroit or Chicago. And they love the game. So who doesn't want to coach that kind of kid?
There's no question about it. And they've grown up with it, and they have a deep, burning desire. I want to go to this agent thing you talked about. Guys are now becoming college player agents. They get 10, 20%, right? As opposed to 2 or 3 for NBA contracts. Seems awful to me. Seems wrong. Seems corrupt.
Well, listen, if I had a youngster, if my son was 6'8" and a high school top 50 guy, I wouldn't be messing with anybody who wasn't already an NBA player agent. In other words, I don't want to deal with fly-by-night guys. There are among the many things that are wrong with NIL right now and the transfer portal, and a lot of this is good now. I mean, I can't argue with a kid making money legally now, but we have no commission, we have no commissioner. So the biggest frustration I hear from college coaches is just tell me what the rules are and don't change them week to week. And one of the things that's happening at the college level, unlike professional sports, is where the agents have to be certified, is you do have a lot of fly-by-night guys taking, 15, 20% out of a kid's, NIL, when normally an NBA or an NFL agent's taking, anywhere from 4 to 10%, And so that's one of the many things that's unregulated right now that I have a problem with. And I like the NCAA. I'm not a basher, Dan, but they let this so far out of control. The genie's out of the bottle. I don't ever see the genie going back into the bottle. We have chaos right now, and I don't know how it's going to be solved.
No, I don't either. I mean, people, the agent thing, though, man, I did not know that. I didn't know that till about, 6-8 months ago when I was actually talking to my son about this whole deal. What a racket, man. And you mentioned, because these numbers are pretty good. Like, I just saw this quarterback from Kentucky that we talked about flashing money. He made $1.25 million, and he can't play dead. He got beat out for a true freshman. Hey, how about my boys at Indiana? I mean, Shaka, I don't like his team's not ready, all that.
Yeah.
But Tucker DeFries and Coach DeFries, man, they look all right.
You know what I like about them, and I got a chance to get to know Coach DeVries last year in his brief pit stop. He grabbed a couple pepperoni rolls out of the state and went to Your favorite state in the country, West Virginia. And I have to tell
Yeah.
you, that's the only thing that's probably one of the few things you and I disagree, because I could run for governor of West Virginia but that's another story for another day. But what I like about what I've seen so far, and I saw this a little bit when he coached at West Virginia and of course at Drake, it's sacrilegious to say, but this is what Indiana basketball should look like. Ball movement, shooting, teamwork. Now, are they super talented? I don't think so. But, man, I got to tell you, I knew DeVries was good. And when I started studying Wilkerson over the summer, I was like, damn, this kid's going to be he is a really good college player. Would Coach Knight would have loved to coach that kid, coming off screens and the motion offense? I mean, Jiminy Christmas.
No, really, really good. You got any mid-majors you like? You got anybody you like out there maybe people don't know?
Illinois State, man, how they doing? Are they going to be pretty good?
They took a bad loss at your old place. They couldn't make a shot at Ohio U.
Man.
Got beat by a couple and then came back and busted up a pretty good Cornell team. Cornell's good, man. The Ivy League's good. Cornell is good. And they busted them up pretty good by about 15 or so.
Yeah, no, you know what? I'm trying to think off the top of my head. There'll be a plethora of good. What really stinks, but it's the way it is now. When I see a kid at an Ohio U, an Illinois State, even a Harvard where my son's coaching, and there's a freshman that gets 20 in a game, I go, damn, he ain't going to be there next year. That's kind of the unfortunate thing about where we are. When I was at Ohio U, and we had some really good teams, and you remember those days with Ron Harper and Eddie Schilling and Ron Hunter, and we had some great players at OU. Nowadays, you get a freshman or sophomore that's really good at that level, and the likelihood is you're just not going to keep them. You're just not. And then what you got to do, you got to hope who's leaving Purdue, who's not happy, who's the 10th man, and can we get him to come down and play in the MAC? So, that's the one thing that I wish. I guess you and I are old school. We're on our lawn yelling. It ain't going to matter, but it's never going to go back to the way we remember college hoop, and we just have to enjoy what we get every night. Like we're going to get Kentucky, Louisville tonight. Hopefully it's a good game, but that mid-major stuff is so sad, isn't it? That the kids are going to play well for a year. You find them out of nowhere. No high major kid recruits you. You go to Ball State, you play great, and all of a sudden next year you're at Michigan State.
Yeah, kid for Illinois State. Guard out of Chicago, really good. Had 24 in 25 minutes against Cornell. Turned the game around, dominated, and my son's like, "Hey, Dad, don't tweet about it. Don't tweet about it. We don't want to get about it."
I don't do that. Stanford has 3 Harvard players, and I think in the starting lineup. Stanford in the ACC.
Stanford.
But that's how it is, man. It's a new world out there. What do you think in the first week of the season? What'd you like?
I loved the games. Like, I love the fact that Calipari went into Michigan State. I think that is just, I love those type of things. Like, I like Kansas, North Carolina, the Roy Williams affair. I was happy for Hubert Davis. The freshman was great. Yeah. Fran, I've said this forever. College coaches need to get off their ass and play home games against other great programs. They're already making millions. They got buyouts, and promote the damn sport. Feast week is great. But these games tonight, there's 3 really good games. Creighton at Gonzaga, that is a fantastic game. Texas Tech at Illinois, tremendous game. Kentucky at Louisville. You know what I had to do, Fran? I looked at that Illinois game and I thought, is that at the United Center? No, it wasn't. Is that in Seattle? The other? No. I love the home games. That's the number one thing that stood out to me so far, Fran.
You know what I learned during COVID, and these are all friends of ours. You and me. Izzo, Calipari, Scott Drew, Jay Wright, Coach K. During COVID, when we were worried about having a season, these guys all got together and said, whatever happens, we got to do what's best for the game. They really did. I remember the conversations I had with some of these guys. And I think what you've seen since COVID is let's just play each other because it's not going to matter at the end of the season. As long as we have, good teams, we're all going to the tournament. And I really think that that's been a blessing because, to your point, these are Hall of Fame level coaches making tons of money. And I'm going to tell you now, you and I both know when Illinois is good, which they have been, that's as hard a place to play as there is in the country.
Oh.
And next year, I assume they're going back to Lubbock, and you just saw game day out there. Those people out in West Texas, now they got oil money, no question, they do. But the way they support Texas Tech, I always say this, and they'll probably they love me out there, but they'll probably get mad when I say this. They're not really basketball fans, but they are great Red Raider fans. And when Illinois goes out there, and Calipari took Kentucky out there a few years ago, couldn't believe it, Dan. It was like being in the Big Ten in the old days, and probably the way it is now still. So, hey, kudos to those coaches because to your point, we have some incredible matchups.
I agree. If those guys did that, then God bless them. Good for them because you got to promote the sport. It can't. If someone going to ask me my favorite sport, I'll probably say college football now because Indiana's really good and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, no, it's great for that's a.
How shocked are you at Cignetti? Seriously, is this incredible what he's doing?
Fran, my first Indiana football game, I fell in love with it. Was 1973. My dad was a high school principal. One of the kids from their high school kid who my dad mentored, Danny Jakovich, was playing at IU. We went to the game. I fell in love. I went to every game. 17 years I was there. I never missed a game unless I was recruiting or we had a game.
Yeah.
And I cannot believe, based on that background, that somebody was able to do this so fast.
Yeah,
and sustain for, I don't know how long, maybe forever, but honest to God, get better after last year. Fran, the culture of Indiana football was so bad forever. It's the Beeline's job at West Virginia is one of the greatest I've ever seen. Elite Eight in like year 2 or 3 and a big lead over Louisville and lost. Okay, this is something I've never seen, Fran, ever. I don't think I ever will again.
I think I would say Bill Snyder at Kansas State, right? Bill Snyder at Kansas State, what he did was amazing, but he didn't do it quick. It took forever for them to go, 6-7 years, I think, before maybe a bowl game or whatever. But and I love the fact that I just go back to that press conference. Google me. It's one of the greatest lines ever. Google me, I win. And I'm like, this bozo's gonna get his ass kicked, and I was wrong, man. And how fate works. He really should be the coach at Penn State. And thank goodness for,
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Can you imagine that guy at Penn State? And now Indiana's pouring in the same resources. But and it also tells you, Danny, I've told you this before, and you know this better than anybody, some of the greatest coaches in American sports are in small schools and high schools. My old boss, Danny Nee, who worked for Digger, he'd say, when you go to that high school gym over in Warsaw, Indiana, or up in Sandusky, Ohio, and you go watch practice, keep your mouth shut and listen and watch because that coach knows 10 times more basketball than you do. And it just goes to show you, that guy at Ferris State must be doing something right in football because he's turning out national champions. He's got that quarterback at Mississippi. And that's what I love about the sport.
That guy that replaced Cignetti. The guy that replaced Cignetti took all of his guys, or most of his guys, and that guy's right back where he was at James Madison. That would be a guy. I'm talking to the AD at Indiana for our Friday show, and I'm going to talk about how he went about getting Cignetti. But if I were whoever, name a school, I don't care. I would be looking at that guy because that guy knows his ass from third base when it comes to evaluating more than anything. Cignetti is an unbelievable, like Beeline was, evaluator. Incredible evaluator.
That's the most underrated thing right now in college sports at the football, basketball level. There are so many transfers going to schools getting ridiculous money who couldn't play dead in the Cowboy movie because the coaches didn't evaluate. They look at the list. They saw you average 15 a game. They don't care that the team was 11-21. You're the reason we lost, bro. Okay, you got your points, but we lost because you don't know how to play. They're signing these kids to big contracts, and they want to know why they're not winning. Whereas a Cignetti will take a kid out of James Madison, 5 or 10 or 15 of them, all know how to win, and it's an incredible lesson for young coaches because it's just not the big names, and that's what I love about the big. Yeah, and hey, by the way, what we found out in the first week, we've been talking all summer about Boozer, DeBanza, and Peterson, all great players. And all of a sudden, Caleb Wilson might be as good as the kid from North Carolina. He could be as good as any of those guys. And Koa Pete certainly, on the high school level, was every bit as good as those guys. No offense to them because they're all NBA players.
Well, both of them did what you're supposed to do, produce. We talk about stars. We talk about this. We talk about that. The kid at North Carolina, well, he was the best player on the court in that game, in my opinion. I mean, maybe night. Not for the rest of the year, but he was that night in a massive environment in his first game or second game. I don't know if they played a game before.
Yeah.
I love it, man. And Peterson's dad was a problem on the right block at Akron for Danny Hipsher. He was a freaking problem for 4 years when I coached against him, Darryl.
Wow, how about that? That's cool. Peterson's a great kid, but what I loved about Caleb Wilson after the game, he said, I played in the McDonald's All-Star game and I never touched the ball. And Peterson was my point guard. And doesn't take anything away from how good Peterson is. But I'll tell you what now, if I'm drafting, I might not take him ahead of the other couple guys, but I'm going to be excited with that kid on my team. If I got the 4th pick in the draft and I end up with Caleb Wilson, I might end up with the best player in the draft in 5 to 7 years. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, he went, remember, SGA went 11th, Dan. He was drafted 11th.
That's right. I say this all the time. Michael Jordan isn't the only player or only human being with a massive chip on his shoulder. A lot of us have that in different ways, right? I mean, he gets credit for it. Anybody else, they're going to get criticized. But I love that out of Wilson. Having a chip on your shoulder in anything ain't a bad thing, in my opinion, anyway. Maybe I'm wrong.
It's called competitiveness, bro. You know that.
That's right.
It's called.
Appreciate you, my brother. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, always a pleasure. We'll talk hoops soon. Just hit me anytime.
You need to get into politics. You do. You're the smartest guy in politics, but I know the deal. You need to get into politics.
I majored in American history. That's as far as it went.
No, you need to catch the shit that we take. You think basketball stuff is bad, man. Every day I get stuff because we talk a little bit. Hey, appreciate you, Coach. Thanks, brother.
Yeah, hey, wait, one more thing. Happy Veterans Day to all of our veterans listening, man. Seriously. Thank you for your love of the country. And I think you and whatever side of the political aisle you're on, man. We live in, I just got back from 2 weeks in Europe. We live in the greatest country ever founded. Period.
Ever.
And a
we're
statement.
Trying to fuck it up. All right. Appreciate it.
Things are getting better, bro. See ya.
I know. There he goes, the great Fran Fraschilla for the great Danny Z. What a week in Michigan. Being chased, being yelled at. All Danny Z was doing was simply covering a Michigan girls high school volleyball playoff that, well, frankly, included a trans-identifying male. The principal, Casey Elmore, she yelling and screaming at you, huh? What's her deal?
The principal didn't scream at me. She just followed me around, and she let the guy who was standing behind me the entire match just scream in my ear. I mean, this guy followed me around the entire match. And Dan, the irony of it, I can't believe this. The guy, white guy, blonde hair, white as can be, pasty, wearing a shirt that says, "May you have the confidence of a mediocre white man." I am not making that up. That is what his shirt said. This was, let me reiterate, this was a white man, by all accounts, a very mediocre, possibly less than mediocre white man, wearing a shirt that said, "May you have the confidence of a mediocre white man."
God bless him. And what was he yelling?
I mean, he just got, every time Skyline would score, he would scream, "Go Skyline!" And at first, I didn't think anything of it, right? I'm at Skyline High School. They're in a playoff game. People are going to cheer for Skyline. That's fine. But after the 5th or 6th time, I realized how close he was standing behind me. So thank you guys for putting up the picture. So I took a picture of the guy, And he says to me, he goes, you have to ask for someone's permission to take a photo. And I said, sir, no, I don't. We're in a public space. I don't need your permission to take a photo. And he goes, well, it's rude to take someone's picture without asking. And I said, well, it's rude to stand 4 inches behind someone and scream in their ear. So I guess we're even. And at that point is when he decided to escalate the feud, and he started saying, what are you doing here? Why are you here? You don't belong here. You have a girl on the team. And then he started raising his voice so that everyone around could hear. And he was like, oh, look at you. You're here at a high school girls game. Wow. You don't even have a girl on the team. That's creepy, huh? Like trying to imply. It's funny to me that the liberals pretend not to know things so that they don't have to actually engage in a discussion. So I got all these people online being like, oh, what are you doing at a high school girls game? Are you a pedophile filming high school girls? Like, no, I'm covering an event. I am a reporter. And people saying, oh, there's this random old man covering high school girls and he's wondering why the principal is following him around. No, I'm not a random person. I'm very much, everyone knows who I am. In fact, the reason I was being harassed is because they know exactly who I am and why I was there. And I introduced myself to the principal at the very first opportunity, and she wouldn't even shake my hand, Dan. Let me tell a quick story about how this even came about. So I was trying to talk to 2 of the parents on the Dexter side. I saw 2 dads wearing their Dexter gear. I thought, okay, let's see what they think about the fact that their girls are about to face this biological male in a district championship game. And so I go to talk to these 2 guys. I introduce myself. Hi, I'm Dan Zaksheske. I'm a reporter with OutKick. Literally, as soon as I finish my sentence, this woman, this large, heavy-set woman, comes into a position where she's not quite directly in between us, but she might as well have been right in between us. And so the guys kind of look at her and they're like, oh, no, that's okay. We don't want to talk. And so that's when I said, excuse me, miss, do you mind telling me who you are? And she was like, I'm the Skyline principal. And I said, oh, great. My name's Dan Zaksheske. I'm a reporter with OutKick. And I held out my hand. She looked at my hand and she goes, and I was like, you won't shake my hand? And she said, nope. I said, okay, well, wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask you if you'd like to comment on what's going on here tonight. And she goes, absolutely not. I said, okay, that's fine. So basically she was chaperoning me to make sure that I didn't talk to any of the parents, and the parents could see what I was going through. So unfortunately, none of the Dexter parents, even the Dexter parents, would talk. Because remember, Dan, this is a district playoff. So all these people have to live in this community. They don't want to be outed by the crazy left-wing mob as transphobes and all that nonsense. So I couldn't even really talk to any of the Dexter parents. But funny enough, I got an email after the game from someone, man, who said, I'm a father of a girl on the Dexter team. I just wanted to let you know, I'm really glad you showed up. I'm glad you covered this. I'm sorry what you had to go through tonight. And after my story posted, he wrote me again and he said, I didn't realize that was the principal who interrupted our conversation. And that's when I realized, Dan, that was one of the 2 dads I tried to talk to. So he wanted to talk to me. Clearly, he found my email and emailed me after the game. He wanted to talk to me, but was afraid to do so in that public setting for being judged by everyone there.
What was the guy yelling at you? I assume he was a father of one of the players. I assume
we don't know
that because
actually.
He wouldn't be, huh?
We don't know that. I tried to look. I found out the guy's identity. I'm not going to say because I'm not going to give him any extra publicity. But I did find out the guy's name, and I'm not sure that he actually even has a girl on the team.
So he is accusing you of being there as a, quote, creepy guy, but he may have been, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Accuse your enemy of what you're doing, right, Dan?
Yes, it's astounding to me. So let me ask you, why do you think everybody was so, what's the right word, on edge about you being there? Why? Like, okay, you want to report it, you want to say it's bad, okay, but why do you think everybody is so on edge with that?
Yeah, so basically what I've learned through my reporting, because every step of the way, this has been a very difficult story to report. Normally, we get some and we've done a couple stories on parents on opposing teams who've reached out, and none of them want to speak publicly. They all want to speak anonymously. And what we've essentially learned is that Ann Arbor is just a ridiculously left far
Insane.
left town. The politicians are far left. The school administrator, as I learned, extremely far left. They are all bought into this trans ideology, everything. I mean, Dan, if your listeners read my article, the first one I wrote when I went on Wednesday before any of this really happened, you walk into this school and the first thing you're hit with is this giant safe space mural with a trans flag and a rainbow flag, and there's posters up for this student organization that's for transgenders. It's like it's almost like they're trying to convince students to become trans. I mean, that is how far ingrained this ideology is at a freaking high school. And these people have the audacity to call me out and say that I'm the one who's there trying to harm children or put children in harm's way. And you've got a school that is not only promoting, but almost encouraging these kids to transition their bodies. You can tell I'm at a loss for words. I'm dumbfounded by what I've encountered this week.
Well, you hear about that all the time. I do. You hear about it, but I don't really believe it. But you saw it. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
All right, maybe maybe the X account is exaggerating, right? But you saw it right there.
I saw it. Yeah, man. I mean, not only you get your hit over the head with the trans ideology, then you got the principal who literally, and by the way, I tested my theory on whether or not the principal was following me. I just kept moving my location randomly to see, and she would follow me every time. And I finally took a video about that. Was like the third or fourth time she just followed me. And then that guy who started screaming at me did the exact same thing. Dan, I'm not there to cause any problems. I was not bothering anyone. You think they wouldn't have kicked me out of that arena at the first even hint of me doing something that would be considered against the rule? They wanted me out of there so freaking bad, but they didn't kick me out. Why? Because I didn't do anything. I didn't hurt. And all the people accusing me of harassing a teenager, I was never more than 200 feet from the court. Like, I'm not there to talk to the kids. I don't care. I'm there to document what's going on, talk to the parents, and just get a feel for the situation. And like I said, they would have kicked me out. So, okay, let's do it this way. Let's imagine for a moment I were an extreme pro-trans person, and a guy behind me was screaming, "Go Dexter," in my ear and following me around the gym. How fast do you think they would have kicked someone out who was doing the exact same thing except on the other side? How fast do you think that principal would have had the freaking police in there escorting my ass out of the arena? I mean,
I think
you don't have to think. You know what would have happened.
Of course. The article is up at OutKick, Ann Arbor Skyline, Dexter Girls Volleyball, MHSAA Transgender. You're the best, man. Appreciate you. Thanks, my friend.
Thanks, guys.
He gets accosted at a girls' volleyball game. Who gets accosted? All he did was show up to report. People are nuts. Woke-a-dope. Things are getting better. Things are a lot better, but he needs to smoke. There he is. Failure, dunce cap, exposed is what I would say. You push it. And that's what this guy's done. He's held things over his Democratic colleagues. He's held back money. He's done a lot of stupid stuff. And eventually, it's not necessarily karma. It's just human nature. Human nature bites you right in the ass. People get tired of being pushed and pushed and pushed. Finally, they stand up to the bully. And when you stand up to the bully generally wears a dunce cap. Next. When people ask why I'm not a liberal, economics and logic, mostly logic and common sense. Being a human being is very difficult for angry liberals, particularly angry liberal white women. Now, it's astounding to me. Let me read to you an email that came to me on my personal email. So what this woman apparently did was just simply take a swing. She took a swing that she would get my email, and she did. And frankly, I'm very, very happy that she did. I'm having a little trouble finding it. But when I do find it, I will read it because me likey. Hang on one second. This is from Stephanie Trusler, How much shit can you put on your nose by sticking it far up twat boy's ass? Do you think for yourself, you and your patriots are destroying your country and the rest of the country is watching with popcorn? Next! Stephanie, thank you for that. Man. For only 20 cents a day, you could help feed a starving New Yorker. It's going to be interesting to see how this whole thing plays out. Hey, have a great afternoon, everybody. Thank you. And don't forget, we'll be in Bloomington on Friday.